Good morning and welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. We have a fine Monday here. Looking forward to chatting with you. Kind of have that smirk on my face from when I ask the universe for something and it delivers in spades. So that is today's reading. Yeah, and of course a message just drops in right as I'm talking to y'all. All right, there we go. I hate trying to get rid of a message when it pops in because sometimes I goof it up and you go away. So yeah, looks like someone has popped in. 2 people. Welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. Hopefully names will roll. There we go. Good morning, Jonelle. Welcome. Glad you're here. And we'll see who else is on. Woke up early this morning. Today is likely the day they're going to make decisions about where my dad will be going, and how each of us as siblings approaches dealing with this stuff is so different, and trying to honor those differences. Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. Welcome. Honor those differences, yet still get one's own needs met with this stuff. So, I'll tell you, I'll read the reading for today and then tell you how it fits in for my request. It's Out of Outrageous Openness by Tosha Silver, Letting the Divine Take the Lead. And as I held the book in my hands, it was, okay, a message for all of us, but give me a little extra guidance today, given the things that are going on. So this morning is my uncle's funeral. And good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. So Carrie and I are going to the funeral. Vicky's going to stay at the hospital with Dad. And they're, again, likely to be doing their assessment of Dad and the conversation with decision-making. And 3 out of 4 of us won't be there. So, yeah. So today's reading is really spot on. So, but let us start as always with some tapping and some breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So I'd like you to think about your gifts, your contributions to the world, what you do, who you are, and that's kind of the backdrop for today's reading. Again, outrageous openness. Good morning, Nancy. Glad you are here. Welcome. And for those of you who have the book, if your book is numbered like mine is numbered, it's page 58. The title is When Credit is Overdue. When Credit is Overdue. And the quote is by Joyce Carol Oates. I love her books. It says, I never understand when people make a fuss over me as a writer. I'm just the garden hose that the water sprays through. The hollow reed idea. Okay? So, she says, and I think this is so fitting for all of us, those of us who slide so easily into human doing rather than human being. She says, I'm often thinking about the topic of doership, and who, in fact, is the one, capital O, doing the doing. Life changes radically if you know you're a conduit for what wishes to happen as opposed to the one making it all occur. Then you can inwardly say, use me, whatever I have to give for the highest good. Just let me be helpful and contribute my all. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. Welcome. Over the years, I've watched that simple prayer, let me read it again, use me, whatever I have to give, for the highest good. Just let me be helpful and contribute my all. Over the years, I've watched as that simple prayer has brought people whole new callings and destinies. Once the focus moves from getting and doing toward being a vessel, everything changes. I heard a story once about a spiritual teacher from France who was a charismatic speaker with the uncanny ability to connect people to the truth of their own hearts. Doesn't that sound like a lovely gift? In the beginning, she was deeply grateful to help. As years went by, lecturing around the world, she received much praise and renown. She was treated with tremendous deference and respect, hearing constantly how talented she was. Then one day, she was about to speak in Australia at a huge convention. The conference center was packed, the crowd buzzed with excitement. She walked to the microphone and opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her voice had vanished. She spent the next 3 months essentially mute. This was no common bout of laryngitis. No doctors or tests could diagnose the problem. Her tour was canceled. Good morning, Angie. Glad you're here. Thank you for the sparkles. Finally, she prayed with desperation to understand, feeling like she was losing her mind, not to mention her livelihood. 3 months without work, not a good thing. That night, a vivid dream arrived. So tell me, she heard, who did your voice belong to anyway? In the beginning you knew, then you forgot. Remember the truth and it will return. She ended up prostrate on the floor of her bedroom, offering her voice, her teachings, all she had, back to the one, big O, that had silently, patiently owned it all along. And in a few weeks later, her voice did return. So when we have an ego connection to anything, our doing, what we do, the gifts we've been given, how we think something ought to turn out, and that's where I'm getting hung up right now. So I spent a couple of hours this morning because, bing, there I was, fretting over I don't get to be there when these decisions are going to be made today about what happens with my dad, and thinking of that as divine providence. There's a reason I'm not supposed to be there. There's a reason Carrie's not supposed to be there, and Marty's not supposed to be there, and Vicky's going to be the one who's there. There's a reason. So how do I work with myself to move into a place of acceptance that this is not going to be my decision? Despite the fact that I'm the one who lives here with him, it's not supposed to be my decision. And logic and reason would say, well, that's bullshit. But the divine doesn't operate out of logic and reason. And I'm sure there are those of you out there, Joe Neal, I know you're one of them, who's going, well, you could do this, and you could do this, and you could do this. I could, yes, but I don't think I'm meant to. I think I'm meant to allow this to unfold, however it's going to unfold, and try to figure out how to honor my mental, physical, spiritual well-being and still flow with whatever comes out of the meetings this morning. Oi, we are really being challenged here, aren't we? We're really being challenged to grow and to step into divine flow and to see ourselves as the hollow reed. Things flow through us instead of from us. And it's not even easy to talk about that stuff, right? It's not even easy to get our brains wrapped around this whole concept, yet we're supposed to be living it. So, I think the more we can laugh, the better. I think the more we can laugh, the better. So, I am very grateful. Logic and reason, you silly goose. Yes, exactly. I'm very grateful that this is the chapter that popped up today because it's calling me to a higher order of being. It's calling me to ascend into, I don't want to say less human, but less, not low vibration anymore. Not fear vibration. Oh my God, what if he comes home? We can't take care of him. How are we going to do this? We need 24/7 help. Blah, 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 blah. No. Take a breath. Let it go. Whatever you're calling for will show up for the call. However it goes, it goes. If it's an utter shit show, it's an utter shit show. And for some reason, that might be the divine right way for things to go. So, and I'm kind of laughing because both of my sisters right now are dropping messages in at a very furious, rapid rate. So I'm trying to talk to y'all, and we're all having a conversation that I'm not participating in as we go. Does this sound like your family at all? Does this ring a bell to any of you? Yeah. So, if you could send up a bunch of prayers today, we'd greatly appreciate it. Yeah. Honoring Uncle Bob's life. Trusting that the best that's meant to happen for Dad will happen. Showing up with grace. Showing up with grace. Have an awesome Monday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including being that humble, hollow reed and not thinking we have all the answers. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.